There are a lot of hormones in the human body. Now, if there's one thing I've learned from my nervous system unit, it's that the brain can remember up to 7 bits of information at any given time, which is actually perfect, because in the endocrine system, there are only, you guessed it, 27. Considering my massive brain, remembering all the hormones should be no problem, but just in case. First we've got melatonin. It's located in the brain's pineal gland. Scientists aren't entirely sure which sections of the brain it affects, but they know it helps regulate your sleep cycles. Next we have oxytocin, abbreviated OT. This is located in the brain in the posterior part of the pituitary gland, aka the pineal gland's cooler, more popular brother. It targets the breast, uterus, smooth muscle, and brain. It helps with the contraction of smooth muscles for labor, and also milk production. Also in the posterior pituitary is the antidiuretic hormone, abbreviated ADH. It targets the kidneys, sweat glands, and arterioles. It helps retain water and increases blood pressure. Still in the pituitary gland, but in the anterior part, we have the growth hormone, abbreviated GH or HGH if you're fancy. Like I said, it's in the anterior pituitary, and it targets many tissues. It's also responsible for growth, metabolism, and the release of insulin-like growth factor hormones. Also in the anterior pituitary is the adrenocorticotropic hormone, or ACTH for short. This targets the adrenal cortex and stimulates cortisol release. Next in the anterior pituitary is the thyroid-stimulating hormone, which targets the thyroid. Its abbreviation is TSH, and it stimulates the release of T3 and T4 hormones. Next in the anterior pituitary is the follicle-stimulating hormone, and its abbreviation is FSH. Targets the gonads and stimulates sperm production in half of us, and follicular maturation in the other half. The last one in the anterior pituitary is the luteinizing hormone, abbreviated LH. It also targets the gonads and triggers ovulation for half of us, and the production of sex hormones for all of us. Moving on to the thyroid gland, we have the thyroxine hormone, abbreviated T4. It targets many tissues, increases metabolic rate and growth, and will redo your drink for you if you ask politely. Also in the thyroid gland, we have calcitonin. Aside from sounding like the name of a bootleg transformer, it targets the bones and helps them to store calcium, which makes them stronger. Moving on to the parathyroid gland, we have the conveniently named parathyroid hormone, abbreviated PTH. It targets the bones and kidneys, and increases calcium in the blood. It also is the only hormone in the parathyroid gland, meaning it has no friends. Moving on to the thymus, we have the conveniently named thymosin hormone. This targets the body's lymphocytes and prompts their development. Similar to the parathyroid hormone, it also has no friends. Moving on to the heart, we have the conveniently named atrial natriuretic peptide hormone, abbreviated ANP. It targets the kidneys and helps them to lower blood pressure. Also, it has no friends. Moving on to the adipose cells, we have leptin hormones. These target the hypothalamus, controlling food intake and metabolism. It's the part of your body that tells you to relax as you contemplate whether or not you can finish a third Crunchwrap Supreme from Taco Bell. Also, it has no friends. Moving on to the GI tract, we have gastrin hormones. These target the stomach, promoting the secretion of gastric juices. It's the part of your body that's still working to digest those first 2 Crunchwraps. Any friends? Nope. Moving on to the pancreas, we have insulin, a hormone that targets a ton of places, including the liver, skeletal muscles, smooth muscles, and adipose tissue. It lowers blood glucose levels, and that's pretty much it. Any friends? No. Yes, actually. Along with insulin, inside the pancreas, we have what's called glucagon. This is a hormone that targets a ton of places, including the liver, the liver, the liver, and the liver. Glucagon actually raises the blood glucose levels, usually to counterbalance his brother insulin. Together, they keep each other in check and maintain the balance in our blood glucose levels. Hopefully. Lightning round, because I'm running out of time. Insulin-like growth factor hormone, abbreviated IGF, is located in the liver, targets many tissues, and promotes growth. Aldosterone is in the adrenal cortex and it targets the kidneys and increases sodium while decreasing potassium. Neither of these guys have friends. Cortisol, located in the cortex, targets many tissues in response to stress in addition to reducing inflammation. Androgens, also called gonadotropins if you're a psychopath, is also located in the cortex and targets many tissues, and it's also responsible for sex drive, or lack thereof. Epinephrine, also called adrenaline if you're not a doctor, is located in the medulla gland. It targets many tissues, increases heart rate, decreases blood flow to the limbs, and shuts off any areas of the body that aren't needed. Norepinephrine is also located in the medulla gland, targets many tissues, and assists its brother epinephrine, as well as counteracting him if he gets out of hand. Testosterone is a sex hormone located in the testes that targets many tissues and manages sperm production as well as creating secondary sex characteristics. Estrogen, the female counterpart of testosterone, is a sex hormone located in the ovaries that targets many tissues, manages egg maturation, and creates secondary sex characteristics. Progesterone does literally the same thing. Lastly, we have chorionic somatotropin, with the abbreviation HCS. It's located in the placenta. It targets many tissues as well as the breasts. It increases metabolism and develops mammary glands. Lightning round over, and congratulations! Now you know all 27 hormones. Good job. Have fun testing.